All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 583 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern Atlanta Falcons football. And we're going to talk about the whole situation with the Falcons not being on prime time this upcoming season. Long story short, it's not going to be a problem. There is no problem. The Falcons are going to be just fine either way. And what we're going to talk about is some of the games that are scheduled and what should be flexed in, because the Falcons will be flexed in. I mean, they're probably going to be the first teams in the NFL to be flexed in on a prime time schedule or whatever the case may be, because of the fact that the Falcons are actually pretty decent this year. Yeah, it's all on paper, but you can't tell me they're not the best team in the NFC South. Right now. It's almost undeniable, and unless you're a Bucks, Saints, or a Panthers fan, you're kind of in denial. So if this is your first time here, welcome. I can be found on the YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. I want to thank you guys for the support. You guys are awesome. I can be found on Twitter at VFBaller, and the website is firstandframerates.com, firstandframerates.com. Go over there and check out the website. The link will be down in the description. And that's pretty much the hub of the website. You guys are amazing. I can't say it enough. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much for the support. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. Every single game that's on the Falcons schedule are absolutely winnable, and I'm not joking when I say that. There's going to be some stumbles here and there because you're not going to win every game. I mean, that's just how it is. But with that, the case may be, the Falcons could be in good position to be must-see TV. You got a roster of a lot of guys that are very talented. You got some players on this team that's hungry and they want to win. The mentality of this coach and his coaching staff has changed. This is a totally different type of mentality or a different type of vibe with this team as it was even when Arthur Smith first got here. Something about this third season of his tenure just feels like it just feels like these guys just want it. You put Desmond Ridder in a position to be QB1. If you've seen the clips of Desmond Ridder, the guy looked like he put on about another good 20 pounds of muscle. He looks fresh. He looks good. He looks like he's ready to throw the ball, and he looks accurate throwing the ball and moving around in practice in early stages of offseason training camp. You look at the draft picks that we've made. You see the free agency moves that we've made. This team is absolutely ready for prime time. If you've seen what this team was able to do last year with the inferior quarterback, and they were basically competitive in every single game outside of what game that was. Was it the Bengals game or the Dallas game? I can't remember. It was one of those games. It could be both. It was really the Bengals game, really. They were just straight out of pocket. I mean, it wasn't a good game with the Bengals game, but nevertheless, these guys were ready. And they they put a pretty good football performance out every time they was on prime time. So when this team has been upgraded the way they are, and they were able to make the moves that they have, this team is ready. And and the NFL is going to regret not putting these guys on at least one prime time game. It's absolutely criminal in my opinion, but it's no problem. The Falcons will get flexed in. Believe it or not, they will get flexed in. You look at the first four games, they play in the Panthers, Green Bay, the Lions, and the Jaguars. To be quite honest, the Jaguars may be a threat because they're in London, and I think London is more of a Jaguars leaning type of fan base. So that may be an issue. But the first three games, I'm just calling it early. And I mean, I have the right to change it because it's extremely early. But I can see that the Falcons win the first three games easily. And then when you look at the rest of the schedule going through the Texans, then you got to play Washington, you got to play Tampa Bay in week 7. Week 8, you got the Titans. Week 9, you got the Vikings. Week 10, you got Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. Week 12, we see the Saints. That's all the way around November time. So by week 12, we could be easily a 1, maybe 2 or 3 loss team. I mean, you're a 3-loss team after you done played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games. So I mean, you're looking really good at probably like 7-4, 8-3. I mean, they're gonna have to put us on TV, And the game I think that probably will be on primetime, honestly, they'll probably flex the New York Jets game because I think the Jets are going to be actually pretty good. And that's going to be in December, the December 3rd, around December time. They'll probably try to flex that one in. There's also could be a situation, depends on what what the other teams do. You could possibly have the Vikings. The game in week 9 could be a flex game. Honestly, not honestly, but the two more games that could be flexes is the Panthers in week 15 and the Saints in week 18. So you got about 4 games right there that could be on prime time. So, and nevertheless, I don't really care if we're on prime time or not, and I'm pretty sure the players don't either. And you as a fan base, don't worry about it. Just go out there and let's make the mainstream media, the mainstream sports media respect us. And the way we do that is going about winning games. And like I said, you look at the first 7 games, and I mean, like I said, it's real early, but the way this team is set up, honestly, the only team that really give us a threat is probably the Lions or the Jaguars. You know, I mean, I like what the Panthers have done on defense, but I don't think they're going to be that formidable. The Packers don't have their quarterback. I don't think Jordan Love is going to beat us, but you know, things could happen, but I just don't see it. The Lions look pretty good at up and coming. The Jaguars are up and coming. I don't see CJ Stroud and them beating us with the Texans in week 5. I don't know who the quarterback is in with the Commanders. That should be a get back game anyway from last year. And Tampa Bay, they're still like in shambles a little bit after Tom Brady is gone. So the first 7 games, you actually have a real legit shot to be 6-1 or 7-0. And I know that sounds crazy because I'm a homer, but like honestly, seriously, do you think any of these teams that are actually better than the Falcons? I think the Falcons have an extremely easy schedule. I think the real threat to this team is probably the Jets, because the Jets has already been a pretty formidable team, and they got Aaron Rodgers. You look at the rest of the schedule. I mean, we got the Colts later on. We got to play Justin Fields in week 17. Like I said, we're playing a bunch of young, inexperienced quarterbacks. Really, for the first, oh my God, wait a minute. We could be playing straight up inexperienced quarterbacks, and I know quarterbacks don't make the team. We could be playing inexperienced quarterbacks for the first 8 weeks. I'm going to go through this again. Bryce Young in week 1, Jordan Love week 2, Jared Goff may be the starter, but I think, did they get Hendon Hooker or something like that? I think. Week 3, Trevor Lawrence is a playoff quarterback. He made it to the playoffs, but he still don't have all the experience. That's week 4. CJ Stroud week 5. Sam Howell week 6. Kyle Trask week 7. Baby Baker Mayfield week 7. Tennessee Titans got Tannehill, Malik Willis, and Will Levis in week 8. We may not see a quarterback up until week 9 when they have I can't remember the quarterback's name for the Vikings to save my life, but you know who I'm talking about. He got drafted with RG3 the same year for the Redskins, but nevertheless, you're talking about 8 weeks of inexperienced quarterback play. They're like, Trevor Lawrence is like the only threat. Now, the respect to these teams, every team has a pretty decent defense, maybe outside of the Buccaneers and the Titans. But everybody else is like, everybody else, their defense is like, okay, what we got here? You got something. They got some team. But the first 4 out of 6 games are at home. I mean, it bodes well for us to be in the position to be like really good, as far as record wise when it comes to being flexed in. This is actually really amazing when you look at it. I mean, they gave us a layup of a schedule, to be honest. I mean, we don't have a 49ers, we don't have Philly, we don't have the Bills. Like, you see what I'm saying? We don't have Patrick Mahomes to play against. We don't have any like top tier teams to play against this season. So the Jets are like the closest team, the Jets and the Jaguars, maybe the Lions, but everybody else is like, the Falcons should be in really good shape to go, at least 8-3 by the time around Thanksgiving. And they're gonna have no choice but to try to flex us in. You're probably looking at the Jets. You're probably looking at, depends on what these other teams do. You're probably looking at the Jets probably as early as the Vikings. And you may definitely be looking at the Saints at the last game of the season. I would not be surprised that's a flex game either. So let me know what you guys think. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. Let me know what y'all think. I think the schedule bodes very well for the Falcons. It's actually really, really scary once you think about what's going on here. I know I did a schedule rundown earlier, but now when you think about it, it could be a really good season for the Falcons. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I want to thank you guys. I didn't say this earlier, but we pulled ourselves over the 1,400 subscriber mark. It may not mean much to the average, YouTuber, but for me, it's a really big deal because it's all thanks to you guys. You guys are amazing. I really appreciate it. If you want to continue support, I can be found on YouTube and Rumble, also on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, Google Podcasts. Let people know what we're doing over here. Share this podcast. Just send somebody the link in your phone. Just send them a random text. Say, hey, listen to this podcast. Let me know what you think. Send it to somebody. Let them know, especially if they're a Falcons fan. Hell, even if they're not a Falcons fan, let them know what you think. My son's in the background, and he's been playing Sonic the whole time. So we're going to get up out of here because he's calling his mom. Probably want to play some more Sonic or whatever, but it's all good. Thank you guys once again. I'm going to get up out of here. Y'all take it easy, and y'all be blessed. Peace.